Madame la Chancelière, j'ai l'honneur de vous présenter Madame Sheila Johnson, qui s'est distinguée par sa vision et son extraordinaire leadership en tant qu'entrepreneur. Ms. Johnson has said, "You never really know where your life is going to go. The important thing is to develop your instincts early, and as you mature, those instincts get better and better." Throughout her life, Sheila Johnson's astute instincts have led to several historical firsts. A talented violinist, she would become first chair of the Illinois All-State Orchestra. In 1980, she sold her precious violin to raise money to co-found the United States' first African-American cable network, Black Entertainment Television. In 2000, she sold the company to Viacom and became the country's first African-American female billionaire. Today, Sheila Johnson owns a diversified business portfolio. She is the founder and CEO of Salamander Collection, which operates 7 luxury properties centered around unique destinations in the US and the Caribbean. As a partner of Monumental Sports Entertainment, Ms. Johnson is the only African-American woman to have ownership in 3 professional sports teams: the NHL's Washington Capitals, the NBA's Washington Wizards, and the WNBA's Washington Mystics. She is also the first African-American woman to own a PGA Championship golf course. Still a powerful influence in the entertainment industry, she has executive produced several documentary and feature films with humanitarian themes. She also spearheaded the formation of WE Capital, a venture capital consortium specializing in female-led enterprises with the goal of promoting social impact while generating financial returns. Last year, she published her critically acclaimed book, Walk Through Fire, a memoir of love, loss, and triumph. Madame la Chancelière, au nom du Conseil d'administration et du Sénat de l'Université, j'ai le privilège et l'honneur de vous présenter Madame Sheila Johnson afin que vous lui décerniez un doctorat en droit honoris causa.
I will now ask Dr. Johnson to address the audience, and I assure you, she's going to impress you.
Madam Chancellor, Mr. President and Vice Chancellor, honored platform guest, graduating class, family, and friends. This is so exciting. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this special day. First off, I'd like to offer a round of thanks before we get started. Thank you to President Carr for inviting me here today. This means everything. And for giving me this incredible opportunity. Thank you, too, to the parents, friends, and family members who've joined us this afternoon, a number of whom have traveled a great distance. And lastly, thank you, the class of 24 of the John Molson School of Business here at Concordia. Without your hard work and dedication, without your grit and determination, and certainly without your desire to make this world a better place, none of this would even be possible, and for that matter, necessary. And speaking of thank yous, there's one I want you to think you owe to a particular group of people, and that's the thanks each of you Molson School graduates owe to your business teachers here at Concordia, a number of whom have joined us today as well. Think about it. These remarkable educators have spent the past, and I don't know how many months and years, trying to teach you the laws of the business world, knowing full well that they were changing even as they tried to prepare you for them. Talk about an almost impossible task. I mean, think about it. Consider just how much the world of business has changed under their watch. Likewise, consider just how much variables like personal computing, radical shifts in consumer demand, a richer and more diverse workforce, telecommuting, and even a global pandemic have done to turn the very thing they've always known best on its ear, namely business. But that leads me to the first of the handful of thoughts I'd like to share with you today, and one of the handful of ideas I hope you'll take home with you, and that's this. Not since the days following World War II has there been a more exciting time to enter the world you're about to, the world of business. Some of you will get traditional jobs and be presented opportunities to achieve great success, rising whatever corporate ladder and find yourself on in whatever industry you happen to join. As young entrepreneurs, the world is your oyster. Business in these topsy-turvy times is a vast landscape, one that stretches from the tips of your shoes to the outer reaches of your imagination. And make no mistake, business doesn't get any more exciting than that. It reminds me a little of the old cable industry in the States some half-century ago, the place where I first cut my teeth as a businesswoman. When a bunch of hungry young dreamers, people your age in fact, all stood up completely unafraid of taking on the status quo. In our case, that status quo was the three major broadcast networks, all three of which wielded almost unthinkable power to control what information and entertainment came into the average American home. But we saw that audience differently. We saw them as individuals. What's more, we saw early on the incredible power of being able to develop shows and original programs designed specifically for a hungry and underserved community. No one thought we could do it, but we did. And we rewrote the rules along the way. And that's what I'm here to tell you. And you too are now positioned to change forever the way things get done in the business world. You too can define all the doubters out there, and you too can prove all those distractors wrong. You have the opportunity to completely redefine, if not rewrite, the very rules that govern such an age-old sectors as manufacturing, retail, logistics, customer service, travel, real estate, city planning, even the arts and arts funding. The very rules your teachers recently spent so many sleepless nights trying to keep up with. Now with that, let me tell you a little bit about who I am. Because I truly believe that if you listen hard to what I'm about to tell you, you just might find a roadmap for your own personal journey, especially in matters of business. And the reason I'm so well versed in this isn't just because it was my life. I lived it. The reason because I just recently published a memoir that compelled me to look at my life's choices. the doors I went through, and the ones I left unopened. I'm now in the third act of my life. My current business dealings have largely been defined by the many things I took from each of those three acts, but especially the first two. So here we go, my life in three acts. In the first, I was an artist, a violinist to be exact. As a young girl growing up in Chicago, I dreamed about one day going to college, and I realized that the only way I could be certain that was going to happen was by winning a music scholarship, which I did. In high school, I practiced like a dog and would often play alone in my family's kitchen long after everybody else had gone to bed. And I learned from that experience two things I still carry with me today. I learned that there is no such thing as working too hard. And a person's burning desire to achieve something they've always wanted out of life keeps them constantly focused on the road ahead and constantly moving in the direction of whatever destiny has in store for them. And that was so critical about my time as a young violinist. And I realized this as I was writing my memoir, is that it allowed me to develop both sides of my brain. Business, you see, is many times a left brain discipline. It's often literal, even to the point of being black and white. It also is highly numbers-based. And because of those things, it can be exceptionally linear and very two-dimensional in its handling of almost any situation. But your right brain is your mind's creative side. And for many business people and scientists, traditional left-brainers, if you will, the difference between being merely pedestrian in your field and exhibiting true genius often comes down to one thing, and that one thing only is creativity. And almost every day in my business life, I find myself thanking my lucky stars that I spent as many years growing up exercising my right brain as much as I did my left. Creativity brings you your greatest success in the workplace, success as an employee, success as a boss, and certainly success as an indispensable member of your community, both as a value generator and a job creator. Then, after college, came my life's second act. And in it, in Act 2, I became both a wife and mother. More than that, though, I became a partner, a true life and business partner. We created BET, Black Entertainment Television, the first African-American cable network. Those early days at BET, thank you. Those early days at BET weren't always easy, and they weren't always smooth. And I can't speak for everyone at the network, but I know that for a lot of us, we never felt more alive and more in touch with our inner selves. And from that situation, I learned a number of things that I still carry with me. I learned loyalty, not just to those you love, but to a cause, a mission. I learned to pay attention to detail and took nothing for granted. And I also learned to love the process, whatever the end result ended up being. Success or failure, neither of those two things mattered to me. What mattered, and what is most proud of, is that I tried. We all tried. And we gave it everything we had, every day. After the sale of BET came my life's third act, the one I currently find myself in, and the one I'm living as I stand here before you now. I wouldn't trade this third act for anything because it is the combination of wisdom and knowledge that I have accumulated over all these years. Almost nothing scares me anymore. And I promise you that's quite an asset when you're in business. I've known pain, I've known loss, and I've known disappointment, even heartache. But I also have known great joy. And I've known victories, big and small, especially the kind that come when they're least expected. I've known the sense of pride that scaling a mountain can give a team, especially when the whole world keeps telling them it can't be done. That's why, in closing, I'd like to share with you a few insights I've gained in my decades as both a businesswoman and participant in this wonderful ride we call life. And these are the few things I hope you'll embrace, both professionally and personally, and things I hope you'll reflect back on the time and again through the years, even as you continue down that long and often arduous journey of determining just who you are as a man or woman. 1, cultivate an inner circle in your life. People who you can really rely on. People you can trust to always tell you the truth, no matter how hard it is to hear. And above all, people who always have your back. Similarly, be careful about who you let in your circle. And I really do mean that. Not everyone you bring close to you will have your best interest at heart. So when you find a person who will always tell you the truth and who will always have your back and respect, hold on to them. Number 2, take care of the planet. God gave us only so much beauty, so many marvels of nature, and so many natural resources. The rest, unfortunately, he left up to us. My generation still doesn't quite get that, but that doesn't matter. When the bill comes due for all this environmental carnage we're inflicting on Mother Earth, they're not going to deliver it to my generation anyway. Number 3, make a vow today to never stop learning. For many of you, your formal education might have ended, but you should commit yourself right here, right now, to remain dedicated to learning and expanding your mind for as long as God grants you breath. Intellectual curiosity is not something you're necessarily born with, but it is something that you can cultivate and learn to embrace. Be willing to try and learn as many things as possible, even when you're my age, is the only way to ensure you'll remain relevant. And if you don't think that's important, consider the fact that you're about to enter into a business world that can often seem bound and determined to minimize the very concept of human capital, especially the aging variety. And someday, especially if you live long enough, you'll find yourself in their crosshairs. Number 4, always pay attention to detail, and do so in every facet of your life. Your relationships, your personal finances, your work and your professional life, your hobbies, even your friends. Remember people's birthdays, remember their spouses' names, their kids' names. Tell stories that remind them of just how you've been paying attention all these years. Trust me on this one. Doing so will make you a more indispensable and more deeply loved person, and it will pay dividends in ways you can't even imagine. And finally, 5, remember this, and this is a line from the old song by Carly Simon, one written long before you were even born. These were the good old days. Take a long look around you now. Look in the faces of those closest to you. Smell the air, feel its warmth, and listen to the sounds of life that continue to hum all about you. They will never be quite the same ever again, and someday you'll miss them desperately. So the only thing you can do is celebrate those things now. Celebrate them today. Remember, no matter when you go in life or where you go in life, always celebrate the wonder of the moment, whatever and wherever that moment may be. And promise yourself that if you do have a plan for the future, you'll never stop living in the here and now and attacking each day like it's the last you'll ever live. Treat time as precious, even when you think you've got more of it than you know what to do with. Because even if you do, like I said, so many of the things you see around you will soon never come again. These are the good old days. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for this unique opportunity. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Sheila. Please travel.
What did I tell you? Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for inspiring us, sharing your life story and your success. We are very grateful.